Bill O'Reilly is going to talk about a recent poll conducted on the subject of illegal immigration and how Americans feel about it. Now, in doing so, he's going to bring on, he's going to discuss this with none other than Ann Coulter. Oh boy. As you probably guessed, this is going to get interesting.
Recent Pew poll on immigration asks, how should undocumented immigrants be handled? Allowed to stay legally, 72%. Should not be allowed to stay, 27%. Don't know, 2%. When it comes to reducing illegal immigration at U.S. borders, do you think there's a lot more the government could do? Yes, a lot. 51%, somewhat more, 29%, not much more, 12%. Question tonight, how should a Republican presidential nominee handle the illegal immigration issue? Here now, Ms. Coulter. What's your advice to the Republican nominee?
That is a total cliche, completely believed by the Republican Party, and it is completely wrong. For one thing, correction, not illegal immigration. I'm talking about all immigration.
All immigration.
Yes, I am. And that poll you just cited is part of the media's effort to convince Republicans of what you just said, which is how Republicans are going to keep losing. The way Republicans win is by driving up the white vote. It is not by appealing to women or Hispanics or blacks. In fact, those groups are going to start fighting among one another. When blacks
so you would
figure
write
out
off the Hispanic American
vote? Not write
vote?
off, but how about for once appealing to your base? The Democrats don't obsess on how do we get gun rights voters to support us a tiny bit more? How do we get pro-lifers to support us? Let's get a slice of the evangelicals. The Republicans have been tricked into a suicidal electoral strategy.
We have to draw out the white vote. That's how we win. Well, actually, there's some historical relevance to that. Historical precedent. That's exactly what they did. It's called the Southern strategy. Now, interestingly enough, I actually argued with somebody who thinks that the Southern strategy never happened. I'm serious. Like, the Southern strategy, it's a myth. Oh, if it's such a myth, why did the former RNC chairman come out and say, yeah, that whole Southern strategy thing, kind of a mistake? Boy, but it sure was effective. Yeah, absolutely. And now the demographics are changing and people aren't as racist anymore, that is starting not to work anymore. But Ann Coulter's like, no. We have to be even more racist and get more white people to vote for us. And look, man, the white vote, when it comes to working class white people, does go to the Republicans. Now, is some of that racism? Sure. Is all of it racism? No. I don't think so. At least I'm not convinced that all of that is racism. I mean, that would seem ridiculous to me. I know we have a racism problem in this country, but the white working class? No. The problem is that white working class is pitted against people of color, and especially Hispanics. I mean, it's that whole rhetoric of, well, those people from Mexico, they're going to come and steal your jobs. No, they're not stealing jobs. They're actually doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. And we saw what happened in Arizona when they actually tried to get rid of that, right? They had some really, really draconian laws that caused all of the illegal immigrants to leave Arizona. Now, you would think Americans, white Americans, would go and pick up those great jobs that those illegals have stolen from us, right? No. Because Americans wouldn't do those jobs because they paid shit. And vegetables and fruits and stuff were literally, dying on the vine. But no, illegal immigration is a terrible thing, right? And we got to drop the white vote by, of course, telling other people how terrible immigrants are. That's Ann Coulter. Now, O'Reilly, later on in the interview, he's going to set up a little scenario for Ann Coulter to at least try to get her to admit of some way, some reason that we should reach out to people of color, to Hispanics especially, since they are a growing demographic. See, O'Reilly is actually being incredibly fair in this interview. And he's actually being sensible. But then again, everybody looks sensible when you put them next to Ann Coulter. Anyway, let's take a look at that scenario.
So I say, in the Hispanic American community, there's a big traditional wing among Hispanics, all right? Traditional people who would respond to the self-reliant, smaller government message. People who work hard.
No, that's the rumor. We're never going to get 51% that way.
I'm saying there's enough of those people to make it worthwhile for me to outreach.
No.
You say no.
Absolutely
Just walk away from the whole crew.
That's what Reagan did, and he won the biggest landslide in history. He got the smallest black vote of any president between LBJ and Obama. That is amazing. And he won the largest electoral landslide in history.
But back then, the Hispanics weren't as powerful.
It's not Hispanics. He was ignoring the only vote that counted, the black vote.
Ronald Reagan. Yes, she harkens back to Reagan, which, if you can remember, one of the things that Reagan ran on is perpetuating the myth of the African American welfare queen. And that's what Coulter wants also to bring back. She wants to bring back that back. The welfare queen doesn't actually exist, never have. But it's a continual perpetuating stereotype on the right, on the extreme fringe right, that all black people are welfare queens and that all Latinos are actually not conservative. Which is strange, because if you look at people coming from Mexico, for example, right? Latin Americans, there's a large Catholic contingent there that are very, actually socially conservative. And immigrants actually do work incredibly hard. Bill O'Reilly was right. They do work hard. Anybody who crosses a desert in order to get here, I don't know. I think that's dedication.